Breakers, I'm AuSSy and welcome to this week's episode of Rope Break Radio. We are in the studio, live, not really, this is a pre-recorded podcast, but we are in the studio. We're doing a video version of Rope Break Radio for you this week, as we're going to do every week before each pay-per-view. So kind of our go-home edition of our podcast, and it's sure to be better than the go-home edition of Monday Night Raw, at least for last week. In this podcast, we're going to go ahead and go over last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. We're going to go over our upcoming giveaway for the Payback pay-per-view. We're going to answer your questions and give our Payback predictions, or my Payback predictions. I should say none of my predictions reflect the predictions of the other guys on the staff, which include Donato, Alec, or I should say Matt. He goes by Matt. You got Matt, you got Alec, you got Kyle C, and you've got the newest member of the team. That's right, he doesn't even know it until he sees it, Johannes Butel. Congrats to Johannes Butel. You've been accepted as a new member to our squad in video services. So, congrats, Johannes. Welcome to the squad. You'll be getting a message from me soon about that. Now, on to our podcast. The go-home edition of Monday Night Raw is usually supposed to be, really exciting episode. Everybody gets pumped up. It's the last one before the pay-per-view. It's got to be action-packed. It's got to be fun. And then you saw last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. Yeah. I gave the episode a B- rating. And we're going to kind of break down the big pieces of the show. And I'll tell you why I feel the way I feel about each piece. And let's go ahead and start with the opening segment, Brad Maddox getting fired. Didn't really make sense to me right off the rip. Of course, last week they had addressed, who's Brad Maddox? Let the Shield, have the special guest commentators, Reigns and Ambrose. We got that. And Maddox has been kind of a do-nothing general manager thus far. And looks like they were just kind of looking for a way to, kind of kick him off the curb and get him out of the show. Well, they did it. My only question is, why did they make such a big deal out of it? An opening segment of a go-home episode of Raw. I'm not sure that he was really ready or worthy of that. And the storyline, that piece of that storyline wasn't really worthy of the opening segment of Monday Night Raw, especially go-home edition. My next piece of that, or the next concern I had, was Kane coming out and chokeslamming Brad Maddox. Is that their way of starting a storyline between the two? We know Maddox does know how to wrestle. I actually saw him at a house show over in Glens Falls, upstate New York, last summer. And I'm just not sure if they're planning on bringing him in the ring, if they're planning on writing him off TV completely. I guess we'll have to see, Sunday night if he shows up at Payback at all, or Monday night if he shows up at all, or if they're just kind of sweeping him. Maybe he'll go back down to NXT. Not sure what they're planning to do with him at all, and that's kind of why the opening segment was a head scratcher for me. During Monday night's show, it seemed as if the creative team kind of teased unification between the Intercontinental Championship belt held by Bad News Barrett and the United States Championship held by Sheamus. Again, as you had all four, the two champions and the two contenders at Payback were kind of in a little bit of a scramble, a little bit of a shuffle in one segment on the show. You had, I believe it was Rob Van Dam versus Cesaro, the two challengers for the straps this Sunday night. They were going one-on-one. You had Bad News Barrett come out and do guest commentating. Obviously, Rob Van Dam got his shot in there. Then you had Sheamus come in and get his shot on Cesaro. Now, little bit of traditional reverse psychology there. Does this mean, you saw RVD get the shot in on Bad News Barrett? Does that mean that we're going to see Bad News Barrett beat RVD at the pay-per-view because RVD got the best of him on the last Raw? And then you see Sheamus hitting the bro kick on Cesaro. Does that mean Cesaro's going to win at the pay-per-view? I'm not sure. We'll get into that when we make the predictions. Either way, I think it was interesting to see all four of those guys mixed into one little segment, but I don't think that they should unify the belts. It makes no sense for me. I think that they need both of those straps to help younger talent get over, especially with a lot of new talent coming up from NXT. And, you still got guys flourishing like Cesaro, Barrett. I think those straps can be beneficial separated. They can help two talents get elevated rather than one talent get elevated. And the question is, do they keep giving TV time to these champions? I think they do, and I think I like that. Speaking of titles, we've seen the Paige versus Alicia Fox feud really get heated. We've seen a lot of really good stuff. Definitely go home edition of Raw worthy stuff from Alicia Fox. A lot of people want to see her actually take the strap from Paige at the pay-per-view. I'm not sure I agree with that. Again, we'll get into that when we get into the pay-per-view predictions, but I do want to give Fox a thumbs up. An A-plus performance the past couple weeks by Alicia Fox, and really a contrast in acting skills we've seen between Brie Bella and Alicia Fox. Not to knock Brie Bella, she is a good in-ring talent, but Alicia Fox is really showing that she can be a total package, not just a total diva. I really like the whole diva segment. I am kind of getting worried that they're losing faith in Paige already and might swing the tide towards Alicia Fox and use her momentum going forward. But the divas were an A-plus this past month coming into Payback. The John Cena-Bray Wyatt feud boiled to a head. Seems like finally we're going to see an ending to this feud coming up on Sunday at Payback. Hopefully it's Wyatt that gets the W. Either way, Cena did a lot to help Wyatt even get over even more so than he has been already this past Monday night when he actually took Bray Wyatt very seriously. We saw at Extreme Rules and leading up to Extreme Rules, John Cena took the storyline seriously with his whole confused faces and, mesmerized because of the children. That's the whole thing there. Keyword children. Wyatt had the children out singing the songs. I think that Cena was really selling the children there. Now he's really selling Wyatt. Cutting a promo, saying Wyatt screwed up in the head. Wyatt, calling himself a god. Very well done. A really good way to end that feud. I enjoyed the segment. I've enjoyed the feud up to this point. I think now is the time to end it, and now is the time to end it with a Wyatt win. And Cena needs to sell being injured big time on Raw, in my opinion. It's not because I hate John Cena, because I really don't hate John Cena, believe it or not. I think that he can do a lot for Bray Wyatt, though, at pay-per-view this Sunday, Payback, pay-per-view. Now's the time to end the feud. I think they're going to end the feud. And like I said a couple times on the Facebook page, I think this is the feud for Bray Wyatt that we will look back on and say, that's what made Bray Wyatt right there. That is what elevated him. You talk about guys like Undertaker and Kane. A lot of people will say that the feud with Hulk Hogan legitimized Undertaker in the beginning. And a lot of people will say the feud with Undertaker legitimized Kane right away when he came in. I think both the people that say that, both of those scenarios are correct. And I think the feud with John Cena is what we will say down the road for Bray Wyatt. Hey, that is when he became legit. I'm looking for Bray Wyatt to win, but even if he doesn't, like I said, John Cena sold the segment really well and put Bray Wyatt over there. Therefore, I think no matter what happens at the pay-per-view, solid job between these two guys in this feud. The belt was a big topic of discussion. Big, kind of off-scene storyline that we've been talking about the past week leading up to last night's Raw, or Monday night's Raw, I should say, is the fact that the belt, what's going to happen with the belts? Daniel Bryan will make his announcement. Will he relinquish the straps, or will he keep them and defy the authority once again? We saw that he said no. Looks like they're going to start that chant up. No, rather than yes. Maybe they think that's run its course. wouldn't necessarily disagree with him. I thought the segment was really well done. A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people said, you got to do something with the straps immediately. I don't think that's true. What am I trying to say here? The pay-per-view will still hold a spot for the strap. You're still going to see Daniel Bryan. You're still going to see the belts. You're physically going to see him. We just didn't see him for 1 week. You're going to see the belts. They're going to be on the pay-per-view, and something will happen. It's a storyline. It's similar to the way, and I know I'm going to get, chewed up for this. It's similar to the way Stone Cold Steve Austin was written off TV. Not necessarily written off TV, but he was injured. The neck injury, they said, Austin, you're ineligible. You're not going to be able to wrestle. And that's when Austin really blew up, defying the authority. He wasn't wrestling, but he was coming out, cutting promos, doing TV segments, and the crowd was getting behind him. Stunnering McMahon, this and that. I think they can do that with Bryan. Obviously, he's not Stone Cold Steve Austin. Obviously, he's not going to be giving the finger, hitting the stunner, drinking beers. I know everybody wants the Attitude Era back, but it's not coming back. The fact of the matter is, they can do something similar with Daniel Bryan, where he's still on TV every week, but they can be careful with him to make sure that he doesn't get injured quickly, or get re-injured again, I should say. I think they have pay dirt here with this storyline, and I think Daniel Bryan will end up saying no at the pay-per-view, and he will end up keeping the straps. And as we've heard, and we'll get into, it's been reported that Daniel Bryan isn't as hurt as you may think. So I expect him to keep the straps. But overall, I thought Daniel Bryan did an excellent job with the promo that he cut. For once, it felt like a real promo out of Daniel Bryan. It felt from the heart. Didn't feel over, yelly. A lot of times Daniel Bryan gets, yelly in his promos. He just starts yelling for no reason, and the crowd gets behind him still. The promo that he cut on Monday night against Stephanie McMahon was a very well done promo. For that, I say yes. The final piece of the Raw review, and of course, I did a full write-up on Monday night's Raw, the past, the go-home edition of Raw. I did a full write-up on it. It's on the site, ropebreakwrestling.com, the Raw review for May 26th, 2014. Go check it out. You'll see a little bit more in-depth on there, descriptions of what I had to say about each different little piece of the show. Now, the final piece that I want to speak on quickly is the Shield versus Evolution storyline. I still don't think that storyline belonged at the bottom of the show over the title. I still think, and I'm not a traditionalist, I'm really not. Matt will tell you he probably is a traditionalist. He would say that the belt should always end the show. I don't necessarily agree with that, but in this case, I really do think that the straps should be at the end of the show. Even though that Bryan is not wrestling, I still think they can get good TV out of that, and a more of a wow factor, a shock factor, especially since we were wondering what was going to happen with the belts going into that show. As far as Evolution and the Shield goes, still love the storyline. I still like what they're doing. It's just, it was a really lackluster ending to Monday Night Raw, especially a go-home episode. And I know I keep saying, especially a go-home episode, but I think you and I, the fans, kind of hold these shows, the last ones before the pay-per-view, in a higher regard than we do a regular Monday night episode. So, correct me if I'm wrong, hit us up on Twitter, Rope Break Wrestling. Let me know if, I'm in the minority there, thinking that the go-home episodes should be a little more action-packed than the rest of the month. They all should be good, but, going into a pay-per-view, feud should be boiling at a head, and I think, the Shield and Evolution storyline is going to end similar to the way the Cena Wyatt one is, and hopefully it's with a Shield victory. We'll get into that, into the predictions, but overall I think they've really done a good job. I think they just dropped the ball this past Monday night. Obviously, Reigns was put through the table, hit with a sledgehammer. It just says to me that the Shield is going to come out on top at the pay-per-view, and that's really all it says for me. So overall, I give Raw, like I said, a B-. Not a terrible grade. But for a go-home episode, I think everybody should be up in the B+ to A range. Hopefully, they kind of, compensate for that in the pay-per-view. I think it's going to be a good one. Now, remember, last Payback, I think almost every title switched hands, except for Cena, of course. Cena didn't give up the strap. But almost every title switched hands. I think that was the Father's Day pay-per-view where we had Curtis Axel take the Intercontinental Championship. Couple quick stories to cover before we get into our questions and predictions. First of those being Daniel Bryan, apparently not as badly injured as we thought, or at least he's recovering quicker than many thought he was going to. On Monday night, he came out and said that his neck injury was actually worse than expected, but it seems that we're getting reports online, and of course, just rumors, just reports as usual. All we do is bring them to you. We're not making anything up ourselves, but the reports say that Daniel Bryan is recovering much quicker or much faster than they originally thought he was going to, and I guess they're setting a return date for Money in the Bank, which is the next pay-per-view. Not sure what to make of this. I'm not sure if he really is, feeling better and, he can go back into the ring and fully wrestle, or if it's kind of a bad move by WWE, kind of rushing him into, a whole ultimatum. If you don't come back by this date, then we're going to have to take the strap away from you, or whatever, Either way, I hope Daniel Bryan is healthy. That's the only thing that I want to say is please be healthy before you come back. Don't make a stupid decision and then end up being, really injured down the line and risking your career. I think, Bryan is smart, and I think he'll do the right thing for his body. If he is back and he is fully healthy at Money in the Bank, it looks like he's going to end up facing Kane in that Buried Alive match that we were supposed to see at Payback, apparently. And I guess that will be a way to write Kane off TV. So I guess I don't see Kane doing anything with Brad Maddox, but we'll see. Either way, hope Daniel Bryan is healthy before he comes back. 100% Bryan. Otherwise, no. Another possible return being talked about for Money in the Bank is Chris Jericho. No, that's just the end of it. That's the end of it. It's not going to happen. Apparently WWE.com or WWE Magazine, may have spoiled the return, saying that Jericho, invented the Money in the Bank ladder match. The only thing he doesn't have is a win. Wink, wink. Maybe he's going to come back and win this year. Hell no. Even if he did come back, do you really see him coming back and winning the Money in the Bank ladder match right away? When you got guys like Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, the rest of the Shield, Cesaro, Bad News Barrett, all fighting for that, brass ring. I highly, highly, highly doubt it's going to be Chris Jericho that comes back, takes the Money in the Bank, unless they're planning on, having him take the Money in the Bank and start a feud with somebody like Daniel Bryan, or, if Cesaro becomes champion or something like that. Otherwise, I just can't see it. And we know that Jericho said, on multiple occasions, he has no plans to come back. I believe him. I know he's usually one for surprise returns, and for that I'm thankful. I just don't think that Jericho will be coming back at Money in the Bank. With Brad Maddox being fired, a lot of people, get this, a lot of people saying, CM Punk, the new GM? Come on, you guys are ridiculous. CM Punk is not going to come back to be the general manager. If anything, he's going to come back to be the champion. And I doubt he does that, especially as long as the Blackhawks are still in the playoffs, and they might not be very much longer. Or they might not be at all, by the time that this podcast gets out there. Either way, let's go ahead and answer some of your questions. That's a good segue into the questions. All right, let's take a look at Pab Varela's question. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. He says, now that Brad Maddox has been fired, do you think they're going to put Sting as the new general manager? Not sure. Probably not. It is an intriguing and interesting question. I just don't think now is the time for Sting, although I could be completely wrong. For some reason, it's just a gut feeling that makes me think that they are going to wait to have Sting come in until sometime around WrestleMania 31. He'll probably come in, have 1 to 2 matches, get a DVD, maybe a Hall of Fame induction, and then I think he'll fade off into the distance. I don't see him coming in. I know there was rumors before about Sting possibly becoming a general manager. I'm just not sure what they would be able to gain out of it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and say no. I don't think they're going to put Sting in as general manager. Let's take a look at another question here. We've got Brandon Manuel. Brandon asks, now that The Undertaker's undefeated streak has been broken, and for the past several years we've only seen matches at WrestleMania from him, do you think WWE Creative can think of another gimmick for Taker like they did with Stone Cold after he was injured, or is it time to hang up Taker's boots? Thanks for the question, Brandon. I'm not sure that they're going to come up with anything for Taker. It's not like they can do another gimmick with his character, in my opinion. Obviously, we all know him as well for the American Badass gimmick. I don't think he's going to bring that back. That's still a wrestling gimmick. I think the way you're kind of asking the question, you're referring to Stone Cold coming back, singing the songs, playing the ukulele, messing around with Vince and Kurt Angle. I don't think that's in Taker's cards, just because his character's always been the exact opposite. No fun, straight to business. And I don't think Taker is going to come back to do any dates. He's about, just about done with his career. I think if anything, he might come back for one more match at WrestleMania. But the way it looked at WrestleMania 30, that could be the end. Although you never know with Taker, he might not want to end it the way it ended. So we could see a couple different things. We could see him come back, just for like a retirement speech and, maybe a goodbye tour. Or we could come and see one more WrestleMania match. Guess we'll have to wait until around, March of next year to find that out. But either way, I don't think we're going to see any other type of gimmick from The Undertaker. The next question comes from Robert Lucas. Robert, continuing to tune into the show. Thank you, Robert. We appreciate that. Robert asks, do you think factions will come back? There's a few groups of 3, Shield, Evolution, Wyatts, and 3.5 with 3MB counting Hornswoggle. But do you think any groups will grow to 4s? Personally, I'd love a few super groups for some Survivor Series matches, and throwing in some title contentions would make for excellent storylines. But what's your take? Well, Robert, I agree to a certain extent. I do think that there should be a place for a group of 4, at least one, and you might end up seeing that down the road. I'm just not sure it's going to be anything with the Shield or Evolution or the Wyatts. I don't think they're going to add to those groups. If anything, those groups are going to break up in the coming months. Question is, do they go forward with any other groups? I still think they've got an opportunity to use the Big E Rusev feud to rehash that Nation of Domination. I don't think they're going to, unfortunately, but I really think that it would work. I was talking about it with Alec and Matt, and we said, wouldn't it be great to see Big E Langston, Titus O'Neil, Kofi Kingston, and Mark Henry make that Nation of Domination, and just to see who comes out of it. You'd have Mark Henry in there as, to legitimize the group, just the fact that he was in Nation of Domination and he is a proven veteran talent. Then you have guys like Big E, Titus O'Neil, and Kofi. I know Kofi's a veteran and the other two are, just about there as well. But it'd be interesting to see who comes out of that group, who emerges as the leader. Would it be Titus or would it be Big E? I think it'd be a good way to get the best out of those two characters. And I think that Titus O'Neil has a good push in him. I'm just not sure that he's going to be able to get it out being on Superstars every week. But as far as any other supergroups go, I'm not sure. I think it'd probably have to be something out of NXT, similar to the way we saw the Nexus come out before. But I think you're right. Especially with that Factions DVD, the WWE home video DVD Factions just came out with Four Horsemen. You got DX, the four-piece DX with, Triple H, X-Pac, and the New Age Outlaws. Obviously, China was in there as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at another question here. It's going to be Pab Varela again. He asks, do you think Bryan is going to surrender the title? Do you think Punk will actually come back? And if he comes back, will he make it before SummerSlam? Let me answer the first part of the question. Do I think Daniel Bryan will surrender the title? No. Like I said earlier in the show, I don't think he's going to surrender the title. Question is, what happens with Brie Bella, because she's supposedly going to be fired if he doesn't surrender the title. A lot of people saying, oh, she must be pregnant. I don't necessarily think that, but maybe she does want some time off. We'll see what happens with that. Other than that, the second part of the question, do I actually think CM Punk will return? Yes, I do eventually down the road. I think, we still see him on the website. A lot of people say, oh, it's a work because he's still on the website and he's been on the, the script a couple of times. I don't think it's a work. I think CM Punk is taking a legitimate sabbatical or break. And I do think he will be back, though. Question, your next part of your question was, SummerSlam, will it be by SummerSlam? Not sure. Again, seems like Payback would be the ideal time for him to come back because it's in Chicago, but I don't think that that's going to happen necessarily. SummerSlam could be a good time for him to return, or I could see him, if it's not at SummerSlam, I could see him waiting until WrestleMania season to come back, but I think he'll be back because I think he knows, basically the same way Batista and The Rock have done, is that the longer the fans are without him, the bigger the pop when he returns. CM Punk's finally back, and he's going to challenge for the title, big money, main event money, just the same way the other two guys have done it the past couple of years. I think he might be in the running for that. Question is, though, isn't that exactly what he was against? So why would he do it himself? Either way, hopefully we see him back soon. I think that he could definitely help some guys get over, and we could see some really interesting storylines with him going forward. With the Evolution and Shield storyline coming to an end, maybe it'd be a good time for him and Triple H to start a feud or something like that, but, apparently Triple H is going to be held up in a feud with Roman Reigns, so I'm not sure. Either way, I think CM Punk will return probably by WrestleMania 31. Thank you guys for sending in your questions, and as always, anybody can send in a question anytime. Say, hey, AuSSy, want to hear a certain thing talked about on your podcast this week? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? You can always tweet us at Rope Break Wrestling. You can comment or message us on Facebook. We can be privately messaged on Facebook, or you can also send us an email, AuSSy@ropebreakwrestling.com. Let us know what you want to see on the podcast or hear on the podcast. Jabronis, rope breakers all around the world. It's giveaway time. That's right. You heard me right. It's giveaway time. Wait. You guys are new. That's right. That's right. Like 1,000 of you guys are new. And you don't know that we do giveaways because you've been in the bleachers. By the way, what are the reports in the bleachers like? I don't know. We're in the ring. We're in the ring at Rope Break, and we do giveaways out of our own pocket. You see me. I'm right here. I'm wearing a Just Bring It shirt. I'm just like you. I'm a member of the IWC. I scrap. I survive. I got a one-bedroom apartment, but I make it work. We make it work. Rope Break Wrestling makes it work, and we give back to you because we're a site by the fans, for the fans. And we've got a couple different giveaways for you coming up at Payback. First off, get ready. Get ready. You're going to jump out of your seat when you see this. Not ready. But we're going to be giving away a limited edition WrestleMania 30 dog tag. That's right. That's right. A dog tag. For all you Cena fans out there, apple juice. You'll be able to kiss your own dog tag and give it to the referee before the match. As you can see there, we've got the WrestleMania logo on there. I might even wear it quickly so you can say this was podcast used, not game used. This was podcast used by AuSSy himself. And if you want me to sign it, man, ooh, I might even throw my John Hancock on there for the winner. I know what you're thinking. Holy crap. Holy crap, what am I, Daniel Bryan? Holy shit. We're giving away good stuff, man, aren't we? We're also going to be giving away a yes towel. Yes. Even though the word that we're going to be hearing at the pay-per-view is going to be no. Somebody will be saying yes, because they're going to be winning this towel. You got to pay like $50 at a WWE event to get this towel. You're going to get it free, shipped to your doorstep from Rope Break Wrestling, because we're the best. That's why we're the best. Why are you even looking anywhere else or any other shows? So now we're giving away two things at a Payback pay-per-view. It ain't even WrestleMania. We're still giving away not one but two things. Yeah, probably not the best giveaways we've done, but we're still giving shit away. You ain't getting that from the bleachers. You ain't getting that anywhere else but at ropebreakwrestling.com, and it's coming out of our own pockets, like I said. Now, let's go ahead and do the Payback predictions. This card is loaded. I really do think this card is loaded. A lot of potentially really good matches, and just a lot of matches in general. The card is not official yet. It's not finalized. But at the time of this recording, this is kind of what I came up with, what looks like it's going to be the card. We got first the pre-show match, Mask versus Hair, El Torito versus Hornswoggle. Quick note before I make my prediction, Hornswoggle has now been in the WWE for 8 years. Did you know? Get ready for this. Brace yourself. Stone Cold Steve Austin's reign in WWE was only 6 years. So yes, Hornswoggle has been in the WWE longer than Stone Cold Steve Austin. Other fun facts. Yokozuna, Razor Ramon, 4 years. They were only in the WWE 4 years in their original runs. And these stats came from Smith Hart, brother of Bret Hart, on Twitter. And we actually messaged to him, not direct message, we tweeted to him, hey, did you know The Rock's original run in WWE was only about 6 years, give or take, before he made his comeback. So now we've got Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Yokozuna, Razor Ramon, and then Smith tweeted back to us this. Mick Foley, also only an original run of 4 years in the WWE. So Hornswoggle's outlasted Mick Foley, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Razor Ramon, and Yokozuna. And I know there's other guys out there as well whose original runs were not as long as Hornswoggle, and I'm kind of interested to see where JTG is. Somebody get that stat for me. How long has he been in the WWE? Probably around the same time as Hornswoggle, maybe even longer. Not sure. Either way, let's go ahead and make the prediction for this match. I'm going to say Mask versus Hair. I'm going to go with Torito to win again because I don't see him taking the mask off. It's very easy to get a haircut and probably kick Hornswoggle out of the 3MB gimmick, but it's not as easy to take a mask off a guy that's masked, especially when that's his whole gimmick. So this match is pretty predictable to me. I'm going to go with Hornswoggle to lose to El Torito. Next match I have on the card is Jack Swagger, the Lemon, versus Adam Rose, the Rosebud. And this is another very predictable match. Don't be a lemon, be a rosebud. I think Adam Rose is going to get the win. Question is, does he get over, or is it going to be a garbage match with Jack Swagger? I know that Rose has some good in-ring ability. Jack Swagger's kind of, his time is up there. But maybe Zeb can help, make this match interesting of some sort. Either way, Adam Rose takes the victory in his pay-per-view debut. Next match I have, I don't think it was officially announced, but I'm expecting a Big E Langston versus Alexander Rusev. And this one is a little bit tougher for me to call, but I do think Rusev gets the win. And either way, I'm going to be looking at Lana the whole time, so I might not even see if I get the prediction right. Somebody let me know, because I'll be looking at the Ravishing Russian, and the Ravishing Russian's legs. Yes, very nice. Either way, Rusev, I expect him to win. He's been mashing everybody. Question is, though, are they ready to basically give up on Big E Langston yet? If they have Big E Langston win the match here, I think that they could build a real feud with these guys. Otherwise, Rusev squashes him and it's kind of on to the next one. We'll see where it goes. But for now, I've got Rusev winning the match. When I say title, you say change. Title, you didn't say it. So apparently you're with me and you think the Usos are going to stick it out against the Wyatts. This one could really go either way, and I won't be disappointed as long as it's a good match. I think the Usos should keep the straps. I don't think the Wyatts really benefit from having the titles, especially if Bray doesn't have any gold on his waist. Doesn't make any sense for me to have the two guys behind him toting gold and him not toting anything. But I could see them taking the Wyatts and making them the tag champions, especially if they want to have the Usos and Cena, all three of them lose at Payback. I could see that happening, but I'm going to stick with the Usos, give them the benefit of the doubt. I like the Usos. I like them as champions. I think the only guys that should take the straps from them at this point right now, an established tag team, the Ascension. You heard right. Where the hell are they? We're seeing Adam Rose and Bo Dallas getting called up. Where's the Ascension? They have a spot on the roster right now. Tag team division is very weak. They could have a great program with the Usos. Make it happen. Either way, for this Payback pay-per-view, I'm going to predict that the Usos hold the gold. Next up is the Divas Championship match. God, I wish they would just make it back to the Women's Championship. What do you think about that, Road Break Wrestling? Either way, Paige versus Alicia Fox. Fox has been on a roll. What does the Fox say? A lot of things. And what does the Fox drink? Coca-Cola, Pepsi. They're all throwing themselves at Alicia Fox right now, she's deciding who she's going to side with for an endorsement. That's not true. Either way, I'm going to stay with Paige. Hopefully she retains the title. I don't think they should give up on her yet. But again, I could see WWE giving the strap to Fox just because she's really been on a roll, and then you can really get people behind Paige, feeling or sympathizing for Paige. I'm gonna stay and stick with Paige. A lot of people say the booty isn't there. The booty's there. The booty's there. And the cake, I'm gonna take the cake, if you know what I mean. It is a shameful thing that Sheamus has any gold around his waist, and it's even more shameful that I think he's going to retain it against Cesaro. A lot of people probably think Cesaro is going to win this match, and you might be right. Cesaro could very well win this match. I don't think, though, that puts him over and makes him, Cesaro's there. Remember, he's had the U.S. title before, and don't forget that Curtis Axel was a Paul Heyman guy that snagged a belt right away, and he's no longer a Paul Heyman guy, and he's no longer a guy at all. Wait, he is a thing? He is a real thing still? I'm not sure if you're right on that one. Either way, I'm going to say Sheamus retains the title. I don't see him being an interim champion or a transitional champion. I do think that Cesaro gets the best of him down the road. Hopefully they kind of snowball this feud and keep it going forward from here. But for now, I'll take shitness to beat Cesaro. If you actually think Rob Van Dam has another title reign in him, especially an Intercontinental title reign in him, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. No, seriously though, I'm going to take Bad News Barrett over Rob Van Dam. This is a very predictable match for me. Of course, everybody's saying Rob Van Dam's guaranteed a title run in his contract. You said the same thing about Batista, and still waiting for his title reign. Haven't seen it yet. RVD is there to help the younger talent get over, and this should be a good match. Barrett is going to get over RVD, and both of these guys are going to benefit because at the end of the day, they're both going to get paid. They're both in a title hunt, or a title storyline, I should say, and Bad News is going to come home with some good news, and Bad News Barrett retains the title. Into the meat and potatoes. He's got the whole world in his hands, but does he have a winning record against John Cena in his hands? I think he will after Payback. As far as a pay-per-view record goes, it's 1-1, right? We've got John Cena with the victory at WrestleMania because he just needed that for his legacy. And then you've got a dirty victory thanks to a kid at Extreme Rules for Bray Wyatt. I think Bray Wyatt gets the clean victory over John Cena at Payback. And man, Payback is a bitch, John Cena, ain't it? Hopefully, we see a fresher, a refreshed version of John Cena after the Payback pay-per-view. Maybe he takes a Monday off to sell injuries, but probably not. We'll probably see apple juice on Monday Night Raw, bigger and better than ever. And hell, maybe he does beat Bray Wyatt. But as far as I go, I'm going to call Bray Wyatt to beat John Cena at Payback. And in the main event match of the evening, it's The Shield versus Evolution. And the fact of the matter is, Evolution can no longer evolve. That's the problem. How are you Evolution when you've reached the end? You can't evolve anymore. You need to adapt or perish. And what's going to happen after Evolution fails to adapt against The Shield is Batista's going to bounce for Guardians of the Galaxy, and somebody's going to have to fill that void, or they're just going to eliminate Evolution altogether. If Sheamus comes into Evolution, I will be very, very, very upset, fella, because his gimmick doesn't fit at all. But maybe we see somebody come in for Evolution. Either way, as I always say, either way, I'm taking The Shield, and I'm taking Roman Reigns to have a huge night just because it's a no holds barred or no DQ, whatever the F it means, no rules. How about that? A no rules elimination style match, which means it's going to come down to Roman Reigns and Triple H. And that's going to be your preview for SummerSlam, which if you haven't seen my SummerSlam poster yet, what the hell are you doing? Right after you're done with this, you better go check it out because it's the bee's knees, jabroni. Once again, it's The Shield, Rollins for life. Whoa, 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 don't go anywhere. We're not done with the predictions. We still got one thing left to predict, and that is, does Daniel Bryan relinquish the WWE World Heavyweight Championship? No. 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 He doesn't. He keeps the strap. Brie Bella gets fired. Nobody really cares, except for Daniel Bryan. Sorry, Brie, I do like it. But Daniel Bryan, no way he's giving up the strap, especially if he's coming back at Money in the Bank, unless he's going to give up the strap, come back, win Money in the Bank, and then go after the belt again. I doubt that happens. I think we see Buried Alive at Money in the Bank like we're reading about, and I think Daniel Bryan keeps the straps. That's all I got to say. 3. This has been Rope Break Radio. It's the first video-visual episode that we've given you. You're welcome. And no, I'm not Davy Crockett or Magneto. We will be back on the audio side next week. We're going to do our Payback review and our Raw review. Until then, I'm AuSSy for Donato, Matt Donato, Alec Kozubski, Kyle Cullihan, and now Johannes Butel. This is RopeBreakWrestling.com. If you ain't in the ring, what the hell are you doing? Get your ass out of the bleachers and in the ring with Rope Break. Don't forget, you can win this dog tag, man. This dog tag. And you can engrave every one of your siblings' names on it, just like John Cena did. You can win this Daniel Bryan Yes towel. You can do it, man. You can do it. All you have to do is know the secret password. That's right. If you thought I forgot, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. If you listened to the podcast last week, you remember Wade Barrett, Bad News Barrett, came on and said you have to know the secret password to win either one of these items. And the secret password is hashtag if ya smell. That's hashtag IFYASMELL. If you smell. If you tweet it to us during the Payback pay-per-view, you are making the chances of you winning one of these prizes times 10. Because we're going to put your name in the pot 10 more times than we are anybody else that doesn't tweet the secret password to us. If you comment it on Facebook, that's fine too. But you might want to just message it to us, because you don't want to give the secret password away to all the other jabronis that didn't really watch the podcast like you did. If you want this Yes towel, if you want that Dog Tag WrestleMania 30 limited edition, all coming out of the pockets of the rope breakers, then you need to tweet us or message us or comment hashtag if you smell during the Payback pay-per-view. We will be giving the prizes away immediately following Fallout, Payback Fallout. So once again, for Rope Break Wrestling and Rope Break Radio, I'm AuSSy. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Next week, keep it locked. We're going to be doing a video version before every single pay-per-view, kind of our go-home episode of Rope Break Radio, and we're going to continue giving stuff away. And guess what? You're just not getting that in the bleachers, man. Don't you dare forget about that. If you smell what the AuSSy is cooking.